Hey there, friends. Meteorologist Shane Smith here with you. By the time you watch this video, it is going to be Monday, June 16th, 2025, and I hope y'all are doing all right. Sorry for the lack of videos over the last week. As most of y'all know, I was on vacation with the family down at the beach, had a wonderful time, and happy Father's Day for all you dads out there. I hope you had a great day celebrating how awesome you all are. Dads play an important part in our lives, so happy Father's Day and a big thank you to my dad for everything he has done for me. All right, Mother Nature, she's she's looking a little angry this week, folks, and not in the sense of big storms, but just very active weather. We have got a loaded weather pattern, several chances of rain. In fact, we've got almost a daily rain chance all the way up until Saturday, and the pattern is just looking very unsettled. Here's what's going on, at least in the short term. We have an area of low pressure off to our east that's been bringing horrific amounts of rain to the mountains of West Virginia. Thoughts and prayers going out to all the folks up around Wheeling and up in northern West Virginia. No, they've had some major flash flooding up through there. We've also got flash flooding ongoing near Danville and back over towards Bardstown. In fact, we do have an observed flash flood warning that goes up until about 12:30 tonight for portions of Bullitt, Nelson, and Washington counties because we've just seen a lot of rain today. The thunderstorms, as they've fired up near this area of low pressure and this kind of stalled out boundary that set up shop over the Ohio River Valley, have been heavy rainmakers. There's been a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and it can just wring it out and just cause all that rain to fall. And in fact, in a lot of cases, you can have multiple inches in just a couple hours in this kind of setup. And unfortunately, the pattern is not looking much better. The front is going to move out, the low pressure is going to move out, and that's going to allow a northwest flow to kick in and allow storms to dive in from the northwest. So overall, the pattern is looking extremely active as we go into the new work week. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has a slight risk, a 2 out of 4, at least a 15% chance of excessive rainfall, being enough rainfall to cause flash flooding across portions of northern, central, and western Kentucky for your Monday. And would not surprise me if a few pockets of that maybe even go up to a moderate risk because some of the models, like the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh, are showing intense rainfall across portions of western Kentucky tomorrow. In fact, some locations may pick upwards of 2 to 4 inches of rain, where some of these cells may be set up and train over the same location over and over again. In fact, this latest run of the HRRR showing pockets of 4 inches of rain tomorrow near Morgantown and near Madisonville. So that is something we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. You see there, that down in the widget below me, the HRRR model. Speaking of the HRRR, let's show you how it's just showing the overall progression of the rainfall tomorrow. You'll notice the heaviest pockets of that out into portions of western Kentucky with a widespread 1 to 2 inches possible for most of the area, and a few pockets there picking up near 4 inches. So just zooming in so you can take a closer look at some of those towns in the path of that. This has the potential to be a pretty significant day of isolated flash flooding on Monday. I'm not expecting widespread flash flooding, but there will likely be a few spots out in western or northern Kentucky where these thunderstorms develop that could deal with some very heavy rain in a short amount of time. In fact, this is what the HRRR model is showing as far as the storms developing tomorrow. We'll have some scattered storms early in the afternoon along the Virginia border. Those hopefully don't get too out of hand. I'm more concerned about what's going to be going on in western Kentucky, out closer to that area of low pressure that's back near Arkansas right now. It's going to lift northeast. With that, we're going to see waves of showers and thunderstorms develop. And the thing we've got to watch out for tomorrow is training. That's areas of the same location getting hit over and over and over again, like a train going over railroad tracks. That can cause flash flooding, and we're seeing a potential setup for that tomorrow, from E-Town over to Evansville, down to Paducah, over to Bowling Green. So in that area out in western Kentucky, we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that tomorrow, as it looks like several rounds of thunderstorms are possible through the afternoon and evening going into the overnight. And then we'll see another round of rain Tuesday as moisture continues to stream in from the southwest. And then as we go later into the week, the weather shifts into more of a northwesterly flow where everything dives in from the northwest, and that could lead to some isolated severe weather Wednesday, especially up near the Louisville and Cincinnati and Evansville areas. And then I'm concerned for the entire state, for the potential of a damaging wind setup early Thursday morning, as some storms could develop and die from the southwest to the from the northwest to the southeast, almost like a ring of fire setup. Very strong area of high pressure, forcing that air down to the south and the east from the northwest, and that can be a big time wind maker in the summer. So that's something we've got to watch out for. And any of the thunderstorms that pop up later in the week on both Wednesday and Thursday, and even into Friday, can contain heavy rains. The European model showing a widespread 2 to 3 inches for the state, with pockets of heavier rain possible. And I think it's probably underdoing it a little bit. These storms have just really overperformed in the rainfall department the last couple of days, and we are saturated. That is a recipe with multiple rounds of thunderstorms, seeing heavy rain over the same area over and over again. That's a recipe for flash flooding. So I am growing very concerned about the chances of flash flooding. Now, I do think we catch a break in the action on Saturday and probably even most of Sunday. I don't know if the temperature quite gets to 90. We're going to be flirting with it in a lot of locations on Saturday. It is hard for us to get deep into the 90s as wet as we are right now. So some low 90s definitely possible this weekend, early next week. Do we get that 94 on Tuesday that the GFS is wanting to spit out in London? I'm not really buying that just yet. I could definitely see some upper 80s, low 90s, and definitely that feels like temperature in the mid 90s, but actually getting the air temperature that high when it's that wet out there may be a bit of a stretch. So that is something we are going to have to look out for. But I will try to post updates throughout the day on Monday, keeping an eye on the flooding situation. Once again, best thing to do in a flash flood, have a plan. Know if you live in a flood prone area, what's the quickest way to evacuate to higher ground. Have documentation ready to go, have your important paperwork, insurance policies, birth certificates, passports, driver's licenses, all the important stuff gathered up, ready to go in a bag. You can just grab it and go. Or have a digital copy of those assets encrypted and stored safely online. You don't want to be scrambling if the water's coming up quickly. Also, just be very weather aware. Have multiple ways to get warnings. Weather radio, great purchase. A weather app like the local TV station apps, or even the Weather Channel's apps, can give you warnings for your location. And just be paying attention to your favorite meteorologist tomorrow across Kentucky, as I'm sure we're all going to be adding to the chorus of voices saying you need to be weather aware. I don't think this is going to be a major flooding outbreak. This is not looking like a Eastern Kentucky summer of 2022 setup just yet. Hopefully we avoid that. But a few isolated areas could have some pretty extreme rain tomorrow, and could have some isolated flash flooding that is definitely concerning. 4 or 5 inches of rain on top of already saturated ground, and some locations we're running a 10-inch surplus on rain for the year. That's not a good recipe. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking us out either here on Facebook or YouTube. Follow me on the socials. You can find me on Twitter, @smithweather. Same story over on Instagram. Here on YouTube, on Facebook, I'm Meteorologist Shane Smith. Hit that like button, hit that share button, get this video out here. It really helps out. And I just want to say thank you for all the support I've gotten over the last month. Most of my channels have seen some pretty significant growth after everything that happened on May 16th. I know today, when you watch this on June 16th, will be the 1 month anniversary of the EF4 tornado in London. I'm going to probably share some thoughts about that, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. Just kind of talking about how recovery is going 1 month later, and some kind of preliminary thoughts I'm having on the storm, and some things I would like to do in the wake of the storm. But that's for another time. We need to focus on the right now, and the right now says a little bit of a flash flood threat. So stay weather aware, friends. Take care. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.